What is up guys, welcome back to another video. We are finally returning back to deck profiles again, and today I figured we might as well just do a Relinquished deck. This deck has been something that I've been really excited for to actually finally put out as a deck profile for this channel. So it is something that yeah, it just feels really great to actually have it now. Of course, I do wish that I actually had the original rarity for them from the starter deck Pegasus, but with that being said, I can't really complain. I'll work my way there, but for now we actually have this full deck right here, and yeah, I'm just really excited to show you. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so to begin with monsters, we're playing our main card, of course, Relinquished himself. Is there really anything else to question about him? No, not really. I mean, it is mind control itself, and if anything, mind control was modeled after it. So with that being said, Relinquished at 3, no questions asked. Next, of course, we're playing 3 copies here of Millennium Eyes Illusionist. This card is also one of the key staples of this particular deck itself as well. Basically, you could just discard this card as a quick effect, and you could just steal one of your opponent's monsters and equip it to one of your Eyes Restrict fusion monsters. So that includes both Thousand Eyes and Millennium Eyes. And also the second effect is basically if you special summon any of your Eyes Restrict fusion monsters, you must add this card from your graveyard to your hand. And when I say you must, it literally means you must. It's not even an optional thing. It actually says here, this is not optional. So you actually have to add it to the hand. It's basically telling you, hey, use me and take the opponent's monsters. That's basically what it's telling us to do. Next, we're playing only one copy here of Illusionist Faceless Magician. Absolutely amazing card. Basically, if any of your Eyes Restrict fusion monsters are actually just destroyed by battle or card effect, you get to special summon this card, whether it's from the graveyard or the hand. So that's definitely amazing. However, if this card is then destroyed, then you basically, or sent from the field to the graveyard, then you could basically just special summon any of your Eyes Restrict fusion monsters or a Relinquished from your graveyard. So it's a nice cycling effect, which is really nice, and that's kind of the reason why I'm only playing one copy of it. You don't really need 2 copies or 3 copies of it. 2 copies is okay, but by the time you get it to your hand, it becomes a brick. Next, of course, we're playing 3 copies here of Manju. I mean, hey, this is a ritual deck. Why are you not playing this? Of course, being that this is a ritual deck plus a fusion deck as well, you can't forget that we could easily just play Predator Plant or for a Scorpio, and that also means that we're playing the Darlantonia Cobra. And these cards are pretty much a small engine to accelerate the cards or the adding of your fusion spell cards, and that's absolutely amazing, and it's something that just really helps out the deck a major amount. Now here's something really interesting for you guys. We're playing one copy of every single kaiju. Well, actually I'm not playing Dogoran, and the only reason because of that is because I actually don't have the Dogoran. For some reason I can't actually find it, but I'd actually take out the Jizukuru for the reason that it's a machine monster, so it's kind of vulnerable. So my best opinion here is to actually take out Jizukuru and put in a Dogoran instead. And yeah, I ultimately think that it's better. But to have one copy of each is great, because if you're playing multiple copies, then you're kind of just leaving yourself bricks in the hand, and by playing one copy, you're always gonna have them being viable options to get rid of things on the field and to always just bring out something on your own field as well. So it's definitely really nice here, and 6 of these are always great. But like I said, switch this out for Dogoran and you'll be fine. Next card, a bit of a tech of mine, but I just thought it was just appropriate to have it in here, and that is Relinquished. So this card, it's basically just telling me, hey, you gotta play me at least once in this. I mean, don't worry, in future variants I'll probably remove it, but for now I really just wanted to include it in the deck simply because it says Relinquished. I mean, Relinquished, Relinquished. I don't know, I just felt like it was just, I don't know, it felt right to just include it in the deck itself. So with that being said, 3 copies of it, it's nice to just get that extra draw one. And to end things off with monsters, this is just a really good card for the deck. We're playing 2 copies here of Nibiru. You basically get to disrupt your opponents, but then, because you're playing in a Relinquished deck, you're gonna steal back your token anyway. So it's just really amazing to actually have this card. It really works well in the deck. Now, as for the spells, we're playing here 2 copies of Relinquished Fusion. Believe me, I actually want to play a 3rd copy if I actually owned one. I kind of mistook things and thought that I already had 3 copies of it, but unfortunately I only have 2. If I actually had 3 copies, I would easily put it in for sure, and I wouldn't actually take out any card to put this in. Straight up, I'm willing to increase the number of cards in my deck just to have a 3rd copy of this, but it's a really amazing card, and it pretty much just goes into this guy, of course. Of course, how could we forget about Black Illusion Ritual? It's pretty standard, it just brings out your Relinquished, no questions asked. And of course, that also means that we're playing 3 copies here of Pre-Prep. It makes it really amazing that we could actually use Pre-Prep in this particular deck and just search for exactly what we need. Definitely really amazing, and improves the consistency of this deck like a crazy amount. I'm also playing over here 2 copies of Instant Fusion. Maybe 2 copies is a bit much, I might drop it down to 1, but for now 2 copies is something that I guess adds to the consistency of drawing into it itself, and it definitely just works out really well for me. Of course, we have to play Super Poly. Super Poly is just really amazing, and with the Predaplant engine as well, this is just, yeah, absolutely amazing. I am thinking about a 3rd copy. If I wanted to play a 3rd copy, I would probably take out the Instant Fusion and put in the 3rd copy, and it would work out really amazingly for the deck itself. Not to mention the fact that if you could predict what your opponents are actually playing in this particular upcoming format, then this card becomes all the more powerful depending on what you put inside your extra deck. And of course, we're playing 3 copies here of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Just a really amazing card. Firstly, I'll just end things off for the main deck with the Caught by the Grave. Just a really good card to disrupt your opponents. But yeah, as for the Kaiju Slumbers, I mean, you're playing 6 Kaijus in the deck. This particular card itself, it not only is at a dark hole, but you could also banish it from your graveyard and then search for more Kaijus to add to your hand as well. It is a hard once per turn on that effect, but it doesn't matter, it's still a searcher on top of it already being a dark hole, which is absolutely amazing. Not to mention, it also just brings out more Kaijus onto the field after it destroys everything. So that means if you go for your ritual summon, you just steal back your Kaiju again, and yeah, it's a really amazing card. Alright, so now moving on to the extra deck, we're playing 2 copies here of the Millennium Eyes Restrict. Really amazing card. Surprised to see that this card's actually still quite expensive even after the reprint. But with that being said, I could actually play a 3rd copy of it, but for now I'm quite happy with 2 copies. I think it's okay, but we'll just get to it later on. Of course, we gotta play here 2 copies of Thousand Eyes Restrict as well. Thousand Eyes is something that I'm strict on with the 2 copies. I think that I could actually use the extra space to play a lot more different options that might be more viable. So 2 copies for this is good, but as for the Millennium Eyes, I have actually thought multiple times to add in a 3rd copy of it, just because I think it's really amazing, and it's definitely highly possible for you to go into all 3 of your Millennium Eyes in one game. Whereas Thousand Eyes, obviously it's being overcrept by the Millennium Eyes. So with that being said, 2 copies definitely just suffices. Now, as I said about predicting the format with the Super Polys, we're also playing cards like Starving Venom. There's plenty of Dark Monsters. You're playing Dark Monsters yourself, so it definitely works out amazingly. We're also playing a Mud Dragon. As long as it's 2 monsters with the same attribute but different types, then you could definitely go for it with the Super Polys. And another thing that I'm kind of predicting with the format itself, I'm playing a Borrowload Furious Dragon. Requires 2 Dark Dragon monsters, and that's absolutely amazing for the fact that you could just use your opponent's Dark Dragon monsters out there, and believe me, there are plenty of Dark Dragon monsters out there that you could actually use for Furious Dragon's summon. However, if I was to adjust the space, I'd probably take out the Furious Dragon and add in my 3rd copy of the Millennium Eyes. Alright, so on to links. No surprise, we're playing here the Relinquished Anima. Only 1 copy. I definitely don't feel that this card needs to be increased to any more copies. I think 1 is all you really need anyway, because you're mostly focusing on your ritual and your fusions, and to go into a link as well, I think that's a bit much. So with that being said, 1 copy is all you really need. No surprise, we're also playing here 1 copy of the Verte Anaconda. Really amazing card to just add what you actually need, and also act as your particular effects for any of your fusion spells as well. So definitely really amazing, and yeah, definitely well worth playing. For a bit of a toolbox, we're playing here the Nightmare Phoenix and the Nightmare Cerberus. If you go into it, then it definitely just works out nicely for you, and your discard fodder could either be the Relinquished, or it could be your Illusionist Faceless Magician as well. Then we're also playing here an Akashic Magician. This card works really well when you actually have kaiju monsters, because you just bounce it back. Well, firstly you get rid of something, go for the Akashic Magician, bounce back your kaiju, get rid of another thing. And with cards like Dragoons, Appaloosa, with cards like even Savage Dragon, this card is going to be really amazing. In fact, I'm even starting to get annoyed by Witchcrafter Vere as well, for the fact that she just pretty much allows you to have hand traps in the hand, so very annoying to deal with. Having Akashic Magician to bounce back my kaijus to get rid of their Witchcrafters just really works. Then I'm playing Linkuriboh. I mean, it's a level 1 deck really, so this card just works really well for the deck. And of course, as for 2 boss monsters, just in case the situation ever comes, we're playing 2 copies, or well, 2 Link 4s, but 1 Avramax, 1 Borreload. You guys could play your own options. You could play Sword, you could play Appaloosa, whatever works for you. These are just my own preferences, but I think having 2 Link 4s to just help aid you in OTKs would definitely be quite amazing. However, that's pretty much it for this particular deck profile, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be making different variants for this deck as well, because I've been researching this deck quite extensively, and I found that there are so many different variants, so many different ways you could actually build this deck, and it is absolutely amazing. They all work really well, and you could actually just choose one over the other, and they are equally competitive in their own standpoint. The only reason you would ever actually switch it up a bit with the variations is to actually just have a bit of fun, and yeah, it's just all great. I absolutely love this deck. This has started to actually rise up to become one of my most favorite decks out there. So if you guys enjoyed this video, then definitely drop a like and also share it. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this as well. Also leave comments down below for your suggestions, your opinions on what you actually do to your Relinquished deck. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.